Let's talk about the kind of companies Pegasci Capital likes to invest in. Just like entrepreneurs we invest in, we will iterate this thesis over time as well. Right now, our focus is on early stage, real world, computer vision applications. So just to dissect each of these in turn, from an early stage perspective, we're looking at seed investments. We're also happy to write small checks into Series A and further rounds. We just want to be involved and helpful. We really think that real world applications are our sweet spot. We understand them better. There's a lot of interesting things you could do with computer vision purely on cloud, generative AI use cases, generation use cases. We really want to look at real world. Of course, computer vision is our core, and there are components of that, like audio-based solutions in the real world that are not necessarily video-based. We could talk about, but really, computer vision is our focus, and it cannot be just an ancillary use case. It has to be something that computer vision makes happen that wouldn't be possible without the component of it. So you could add computer vision into use cases. Usually, that's not where our focus is, however. It has to be a deep computer vision use case. And it has to be applications. We're not looking at ML operations. We're not looking at CV ops. We're not looking at building toolkits or infrastructure. It has to be an application that someone uses. So it could be a B2C, it could be B2B, but it has to be an application. And the value add, as VCs like to say, so our value add is in understanding this specific use case, this specific scenario, because video is a very hefty data type. You can get to really, petabyte scale very quickly if you have just a few 4K cameras or 4K streams that you're trying to manage. And so if you don't have an investor who understands what that could mean, then you're at a disadvantage. So that's something that we understand very well. We also understand how complicated on-prem can be. And a lot of use cases for video would be on-prem, and we can come and play a role because we understand the complications there. The other axis about video is that unlike images or text, if you're doing something at 30 frames per second, particularly if you're doing something real time, you will know that it's very non-trivial. You're living it, you're breathing it, and that's something that we know and understand very well, having done this ourselves. There is also this concept of CV science. There's a lot of things that people are writing research papers on. They have some limited capabilities that they have been able to create a model for example, or something else. And the reality is that the science and technology is a different thing. When you start deploying that science and trying to wrap it into an application, you actually might have some unique challenges. And again, we have exposure and knowledge that we can offer there. Technology, in fact, is also separate from scale. When you're trying to deploy this at a large scale, tens of locations, hundreds of locations, tens of thousands of locations, the same technology that seems to work fine for a proof of concept might not work at scale. So we can help with that as well. And then finally, your scale solution might not have everything that enterprises might be looking for. And this could be as trivial as single sign-on kind of needs. It could be more complicated from a GDPR compliance perspective, where how do you do compliant video processing? All of these things we know and we understand, and we can talk your language. And so you'll have a better time with us on your cap table because we can provide you guidance on that most of the investors won't be able to do. And having been through this journey as operators ourselves, we know the tricks. So we know when to mechanical turk something. Maybe you don't need to have a model. Maybe a human who in the loop is a better solution than a pure play vision model. We also know and when to use generative AI, when not to use Gen AI. Where is it there? Where is it not there quite yet? Where would it cost way too much money? You might have to raise way more money than you need to get to the next milestone. A lot of the times people get stuck on the cloud. A proof of concept that works great on cloud might actually not be the right solution. You might need to go to on-prem for some of the steps along the way, and that's something we can help with as well. More broadly, though, beyond computer vision, How much of CV in real world is a GTM problem to solve? How much of it is a technology problem to solve? We have some thoughts there. We can brainstorm with you on a question of, do you have to raise big? For you to be a computer vision company, does that mean you have to raise huge amounts of money? It's video after all, or not? And can you actually break even and have more control over your future if you follow a certain path? Even things like, do you build certain components of the technology? What are open source libraries that you should be using? What are other vendors that you should be pulling in to solve certain parts of the stack? What should you build yourself? And then finally, GTM questions like, do you go channel? Do you go direct? What are the things that you need to co-build with the customer? What are the things that you can just drive through the channel? These are the kind of things that we would love to jam with you on and help develop a point of view. This is also why we like to work with early stage companies. We offer a lot more for real world applications than for, let's say, cloud-based Gen AI platforms. So we have a very specific point of view that we offer, and we think that we can add a lot of value to you as an investors, like all investors like to, beyond the check. And we hope you will be interested in talking with us. My information is down here. Just send me an email. We'll get started.